Mike, there were things on both ends I'm sure you were happy with, but what pleased you most out of that?
Well, I mean, I think our journey to be able to play the Adelaide 36er basketball again. I think, we've been trying to find that rhythm again here for a little while, and that was the team that you saw for the majority of the season. We were organized. Guys were communicating, and it started on the defensive end. I said early in the year I thought I had the three best bigs in the league, and I feel like they are very, very talented. And, Ice had 10 in the fourth and had to hang in there with some fouls, and he kept battling. And, Z went 19 and 9, and then this guy beside me, what Nick did tonight. And, there's been a little rhythm to his game and what's going on. And I couldn't be prouder for those guys, for the bigs, with their size and their athleticism to hang in there and battle. And then, I think BC's a warrior. The guy gets hand checked. He's beat up. He gets jumped on. He's all over the place, and he just keeps going, and he keeps going. And that was really a driving force for our team. And then I think the last thing for me, just off the top of my head without looking at the stat sheet a long time, is just you keep seeing Flynn Cameron grow. And it was really important for him to play well here. Didn't have a great game the last time we were here. But, what he did with 8 assists and no turnovers, handling that pressure, man, he's growing before our eyes. I just love who he is as a young player and his competitiveness and his willingness to just keep getting better and keep fighting.
Your defense is the thing that I think escaped you over the last few games.
Yes.
What was it about tonight? What can you zone in on something that you thought?
Might be a better question for Nick. From my end, it's what we've been trying to say in this window of us finally, having some adversity. You've got to get back to a few basics, and that starts with defense. And we know where the numbers went, and we know what has been going on. And, as a coach, you're sitting there and you're trying to, hey, now you got to do all these little drills, and you got to turn your shoulders, and we got to build this, and you got to work on, pick and roll defense, and then you got to, box out, and all these little things. But those little things add up to this big thing, and we technically really haven't had a practice in a month. John Jenkins has been with us since Perth at Hoops Fest. He's had one real live practice and parts of a couple more because, guys play a lot of minutes. And we've been kind of fighting through that with being on the road, and we technically have been on the road since Perth, and, that's just the way it is. We played one game at home, and the guys have not wavered. And I love their togetherness, and they say the right things. And since Illawarra, and that one stung, I used the Coach Popovich line, and I said, just, use that as fuel. Like, wad that up, put that in that tank, and use that as fuel. And I just thought from that moment to this moment, they were outstanding.
Can you tell us what it does to your team when Zylan plays with the force that he did tonight? Not just off, Bryce doubles, but just on his own accord, playing with force, getting on the rim.
Well, Z does a lot for this whole group in a lot of different ways, and he's an energy giver, number one. And when he's doing that, whether he's handling the ball, playing flash, Edwards is guarding him to start the game, and now we're playing pick and roll with him, right? I mean, it's just what we're going to do, and probably a lot of teams, and then he's got to handle the pressure, and he's got to defend smalls at times. And, I thought the combination of whatever my big combination was tonight was outstanding. I got to give credit to all three of them now. Z does this sort of hybrid between a big and a small, but, we've gotten quality minutes the last two games with Z and Ice, and then I sub, and it's Nick and Ice. And today we had the sub it a little bit different, and Nick and Z had multiple minutes, and, fouls dictated that. But the combinations were outstanding. It made it easy for me as a coach.
Nick, was there a difference sort of in how you felt and how you felt the team felt tonight compared to the last, 5 or 6 games?
Yeah, I think, when we came out here, we all had the same goal, and, we talked today at that shoot around, just getting back to what we do well, and, just having fun again and just playing like that basketball that we played at the beginning of the season that made us so good. And, I think when you have a good group of guys like this who are just so bought into like winning and nothing else matters, I think it's just so easy to gel and to learn from those mistakes that we had in these last few games. And like Coach talked about, John's new to the team, and we're still trying to get him acclimated. And he's barely had any practice with us, but I think that I'm just really proud of the guys and how we came here. They're a great team, home court, and how we battled, and we came up with the win today.
I might be reading a bit too much into it, but after the game, you guys celebrated, and then it seemed like there was like a serious discussion among the guys on the court before you went to your fans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to shed light on sort of what the sort of tone and message was in that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we were all happy about the win, and then just on a serious note, we know what this team is capable of, and when we play like this and we stick to our defensive principles and we only give up 76 points to one of the best teams in the league, we're going to be really hard to beat. And we just wanted to get back to, like I said, just playing the basketball that made us so good this year. And that's what the conversation was. It's just when we all lock in, we're all on the same page. This is how good that we could be.
Last one for me, for Nat. Do you know what Bryce did? He sort of just limping throughout stretches of the game. Held his back at one point,
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of got jumped on one of those layups, I mean, and probably just came down a little bit funny. I mean, he weighs like 3 kilos or what, he seemed fine, like we just kind of rode it, right? I wasn't going to allow that to be an issue. He's such a competitor and a leader. He wasn't going to allow it to be an issue, so we just kind of played through it. But, I would just also like, the way for us to be able to come in here and control the game in the first quarter was really, really important with a team that, had a week off and haven't played at home, since January. The crowd never got going for a long time because of the way we started that game. And then, to come out of the third quarter and put our foot back down was really, really an impressive thing for the group. I was super, super proud, and because it started on the defensive end.
So, Mike, what was the message to the group at halftime and then after a 12-point call second term to really establish momentum again?
I got to be honest with you, I didn't have to say a whole lot tonight. They were already talking when I got in there. There was a couple of things we showed, but really nothing of importance, to be honest with you. I did my little coach thing. They were all saying the right things. Those guys, every time I walk in there, sometimes they're talking so much, and I hate to walk in because they'll see me walk in and they stop. And it's like, no, keep it going, because that's the really good stuff, and they've all got important things to say. And what we've had in there is a group that, if Nick sees something, he, I think, feels very comfortable to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and I think everybody can voice their opinion, and everybody kind of listens to everybody, and they're all trying to solve the problem together, and that's really, really important. And if they're talking defense, that's the formula, and that was a gritty win on a quick turnaround.
You mentioned finding 36er basketball again
Yep.
tonight. How do you sustain that now for the rest of this season?
Yeah, that's a good question, buddy. That's the magic formula. We're all trying to do that, right? I think that in this league, in a short season, as hard playing and physical and tough and all the things that everybody uses to describe the NBL, you're going to have adversity, right? And teams are made when adversity hits. And we've been waiting for this moment. We needed one more play the other night, one more. And, last time we were here, we needed one more play. And those moments happen, and you win some and you lose some. But for our group to rebound, refocus, and then put together a 40-minute effort like that, I just couldn't be more proud. And now we got to do it again. That's what the league is. And, we'll go home and play New Zealand. Did they win tonight? I have no idea. They won tonight. So obviously, one of the hottest teams in the league. It's really fighting to get in the playoffs. So that'll be a really interesting challenge for us. And, our last regular season home game at home in Adelaide in the Entertainment Center. And we haven't played home much, and I'm really, really excited after this win to get home and play in front of those fans.
How do you stay grounded as a head coach and really in the moment when there's so much noise, external noise around, the team and organisation?
Well, I mean, coaches are hired to be fired, buddy. It's what life is, right? I know the deal with being a head coach, and it's shouldering responsibility, and if the team doesn't play really well, that comes on me, right? And tonight, those guys did a hell of a job. I tried to help them as much as I could. They solved all the problems on their own. They were outstanding in the locker room, the build-up, the halftime, the way they were talking during timeouts. But, as a coach, the longevity of this job and the way it works is 99% of us get fired, and the other 1% of us, the phone just doesn't ring again. That's how it works. That's what we sign up for, and I wouldn't trade it. I love it. It's been a hell of a journey, and to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be hard for me to keep this group grounded. They love hanging out, and we just needed a nice win to get our group to feel good again. We have been doing some good things, and you just don't get the reward at the end. And ultimately the W gives us that satisfaction as a coach and players and an organization and all that thing. But we have been doing better things. It's hard for me to say that when the end result is a loss, but we have been rebounding and coming back on the defensive end and doing things. And then there's maybe a short window. Today was our most complete effort in a long time, and that's the most pleasing thing.
Last one for me. Nick, can you take us inside practices and the conversations with you three? Because I can imagine there'd be some, pretty intense battles.
Yeah, I mean, Ice and Z are just incredible. They're incredible players. They're incredible human beings, and it's just, it's a blessing for myself, to go up against them, and because I feel like I get better, when I play against them, those two guys in practice. I feel like myself gets better, and I try to push them so they could get better too. So, it's just that. The bigs, we have such a good relationship on and off the court. When we're in the game, we gel really well together, and I think it's pretty special. For the rest of the guys, it's the same thing. But me, Ice, and Z, we just try to compete as much as we can in practice. But at the end of the day, it's all love, and we just want to push each other to get better, so we could win a championship.
Nick, did you hear the boos that come your way tonight, and did it spur you on a bit?
No, I don't listen to.
Did they boo? Oh,
Yeah,
Lance, thanks for being here.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't hear it, but even if I did, it's just that stuff to me is just noise. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those type of people who, get affected by what people say or anything like that. So, that's just always been me.
Yeah.
I coming from where I came from, I heard it all. So, the boos or whatever, that's just noise to me. If it's not guys in that locker room with me going to battle every day, I'm not hearing it.
In light of that, though, you must be satisfied to walk out with such a big win and to have a dominant performance individually.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it always feels good to get a win, and it always feels good to get a win and play well. So, as a player, that's what you want to do. Coaches, they want to make a game plan and win the game and do things their way. But as a player, you want to go out there, you want to compete, and you want to feel like you had a big contribution to the game. So, I'm glad that I was able to, kind of get my game going tonight, and most importantly, I'm glad we just got the win because, like Coach said, we needed that to continue to build on what we're trying to do.
Would you make of Zylan stealing your last rebound? You could have had 13.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I wanted to hit him.
It's unbelievable. So there is some selfishness in the group. Okay, you guys saw it. Or competitiveness.
Yeah, whichever way you want to look at it. But I should have had 13 rebounds, and he should have had 8. But, I'll let him have that. He'll get me next game.
Yeah.
Wrap it
We good? All right, guys, thanks.